Nathan May has been a musician since childhood, and over the past couple of years, he has been releasing some lovely singles such as Fix It Up and It's Gotta Start Somewhere, which showcase his wonderful voice as well as his storytelling. His latest single is Love From Me. I'm going to talk to him about that and a bit of touring he's been doing lately. Hi, Nathan.
Hey Sophie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Been listening to this lovely song. You keep putting out these great songs, and this one has quite a story behind it. It's about your great grandparents. Were you told a lot about them while you were growing up?
No, not really. So I got a bit of an interest from them when my nana started talking about them, especially always like going up to country and that my nana was born on in Maori and in South Australia, and kind of was talking about the history and her father and her mother, and we kind of didn't know about them as kids. So
Mhm.
and it was good to get those kind of stories that she was talking about them while we were heading up, because then you can, instead of imagining it, you can
Mhm.
see where they grew up and the desert and how remote these places are. So yeah, we didn't get spoken to a lot about them as kids, but now as adults, I also found an interest in my two cultures, my great grandfather being a white man from Newcastle in UK, to my great grandmother who's been here, and her parents have been here for thousands of years, So
Mhm.
I, yeah, it's just really fascinating to get their history and their both sides. It's a great way to I don't know, write songs about
Yeah.
that.
Well, there are stories that how did they meet your great grandfather and great grandmother?
Yeah, so my grandfather came over to work on the railway lines. As in some songs you hear that, and got to start somewhere, right? It's
Mhm.
my great grandfather worked on the railway line, and he came over to work on the Ghan line, which started in Marie and eventually went up to Alice Springs. So and then it ended up all the way in Darwin, which is quite fascinating because that's where my grandmother was born, and now she lives in Darwin. It's
Right.
um, they all ended up in Darwin from that. Her dad working on the Ghan line. So yeah, it was. I guess just he wanted to come over and found some work from that point of view, and got here.
Mhm. And your nana was one of 13 children. So did you have
Yeah,
much contact with her brothers and sisters while you were growing up?
yeah. So yeah, the 13 kids. Two passed away very young, at a young age, and then I didn't get to meet a few of the eldest um, daughter, my nana's eldest um, sister. I didn't get to meet her because she passed before I was old enough to remember, but I do remember all her other um, her siblings, and I didn't get to meet another one who passed away in a car accident up in Darwin. So there's yeah, I had a great amount, and that's where the family just extends, because
Mhm.
we all grew up together up in Darwin. Been so close with my grandmother's side on my mum's side. So yeah, we've all had this close connection for a very long time, and I'm so grateful to be able to have that connection. But we only, as you grow up, you only start learning about the actual history of how do we end up all the way in Darwin,
Yeah.
uh, where her roots are from, South Australia from her mother's side.
And now you're in South Australia yourself. Um,
Yeah, born and bred in Darwin, and yeah, moved back close to home, really.
so given that you would have quite a few stories in your family, I would think that are worth writing a song about. What made you decide to write a song about your great grandparents?
Yeah, I started seeing a lot of things on social media. I guess we all get kind of influenced from a lot of things, stories you see. And I remember seeing a story about um, this African American um, bloke and a white woman together, and all this really hard life that they had. It was kind of like a interview series, and obviously he was a part of the war and went over to war and came back, and so all this story inspired me, and I was like, oh well, I got that in my family, and so I started asking my nana questions, and obviously she was talking to me a lot about how they were together and had all these children. I thought, wow, that's surely something's happening here to have that many kids back in those days. Um, so yeah, I started asking questions, and I just wanted to write about it because I feel like that's a lot of my friends and family. We all it's not about color or it's we all coming together and finding love for each other, whether it's like real close love, but I love all my friends and family in with all different cultures, and I think that was one of the main things that I wanted to write about, and especially because back in those early days there would have been a lot of that judgment on both sides,
Yeah.
because it was early days, it was black and white.
Mhm.
um, and like my great grandmother had to have a white card, they called it, because she was with a white man to get
Right.
into a pub, you
Right.
know. Um, so those are the kind of um, things that I thought, they stuck together for so long, and all this stuff would have been happening and all this pressure, and so I just thought, I wanted to dedicate it, especially to my great grandmother.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I want to get a song out for her.